Hi, it's John Voot, and this lesson is on Can't Get Enough by Bad Company from Trinity Rock and Pop Drums Grade 4. So looking at the sheet music in the book, song title at the top of the page, beneath that it says intro in a box there, let you know the first section of the song I'm going to be playing is the intro. Beneath that we've got the style or genre of the piece, so this piece is a blues rock piece. And beside that it says a quarter note equals 125, so that's the tempo of the piece. So you've got 125 quarter note beats per minute, so a fairly fast tempo. And then beside that it says 2 bars counting in brackets there, let you know when you play it with a backing track there's going to be 2 bars of counting before the piece starts. Underneath that it says heavily shuffled quavers in brackets there. So we need to shuffle all the quavers, so we need to swing the quavers, the upbeat quavers, so the upbeat 8th notes, so we need to play them later than normal. So normally those 8th note upbeats, the quaver upbeats, play on the midpoint of the beat, but for this piece we're going to heavily shuffle them, so we're going to push them later and quite a bit later as well, okay, to give it a heavier swing feel. Okay, so rather than playing one and like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, that 8th note upbeat that I'm playing with the left hand is going to be later. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and like I said, the more you push it later, the heavier the shuffle feel gets. So as this says, a heavily shuffled quaver, you want to make sure it's quite a bit later. Okay, so a whole bar would sound like this of heavily shuffled quavers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you want to give it that feel, so every 8th note upbeat in this song is going to be shuffled, played later. Okay, so beneath that, you got the first bar there. The first bar you can see is a short bar, it's not a full bar, because you can see we've got the percussion curve there, let us know drum notation on the stave. We've got the time signature, 4/4, 4 beats in the bar is the top number, bottom number tells you each one of the beats is a quarter note, so that's the value of the beats. So 4 quarter note beats in the bar. So as that first bar you can see there is shorter than 4 beats, you know it's a pickup bar or an anacrusis, which picks us into the takes us into the first bar of music. So in that anacrusis you've got a quarter note rest and then a quarter note in the top rhythm, so that's 2 beats long. So the final 2 beats of a 4/4 bar are beats 3 and 4. So you're going to come in at beat 3. Okay, so we've got an 8th note rest in the bottom rhythm in that pickup bar. So we're playing an 8th note on the bass drum on the and of 3, and then we've got a quarter note rest there. And in the top rhythm in that pickup bar, we've got a quarter note rest on 3, quarter note on this snare drum. And there's a grace note before that snare drum, so we play a flam. So in that pickup bar, that anacrusis, we're playing the and of 3 on the bass drum, which is obviously going to be shuffled, it's going to be played later. And then we've got a 4 on the snare drum, played as a flam. Okay, so that pickup bar will sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so see that shuffled bass drum there playing later than the midpoint of the beat. And beneath the anacrusis, the pickup bar, you've got an F, short for forte, which means loud. So you come in loud. Okay, so that pickup bar, that anacrusis, takes us into bar 1, which is the next bar. Okay, so we've got a groove in bar 1, crash cymbal for a quarter note, hi-hats for the other quarter notes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, snare drum, standard backbeat on 2 and 4, bass drum rhythm, quarter note on the 1, quarter note rest on 2, 8th notes on 3, 8th note rest on 4. So that groove in bar 1 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the only shuffled note in that bar is the and of 3 on the bass drum, so you want to play that later than normal. Then in the next bar, same hand rhythm, but no crash, because the crash is just accentuating the start of bar 1 there. So in the next bar, bar 2, we're just on the hi-hat for quarter notes, and we've got bass drums playing the 8th notes on the 1 and the 3 in this bar. So remember, shuffle those bass drum upbeats, you'll shuffle the end of 1 and the end of 3. So that bar sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in the next bar you've got the same thing that we just played there for the first 2 beats, and then we've got a change up in beats 3 and 4 where you're playing 8th note triplets on the 3, so that would be 3 and a, and then we've got 8th note on the downbeat of 4, and then a crash cymbal on the upbeat of 4. Okay, so with your hands for beats 3 and 4, right hand on hi-hat, left, right, left on snare, right crash. So that's 3 and a 4 ah, because you're playing the and on the ah, okay, because it's later. So it'll be 1, 2. And then we've got a bass drum on the hi-hat and the crash. So that'll be 1, 2. So that bar, which is bar 3, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2, 3 and a 4 and. And then in the next bar, 8th note rest on the 1. We play an 8th note upbeat on the end of 1 on the crash and bass drum. So remember, that's going to be shuffled, played later. Quarter note rest on 2. 8th note triplets on the snare drum on beats 3 and 4. So we hit a shuffled 8th note on the upbeat of 1, rest on 2, 3 ender, 4 ender, as single strokes on the snare. So that bar, so bar 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to try bars 3 and 4 now, putting those 2 bars together, because they kind of link together, those 2 bars. It's kind of like a 2-bar part there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you want to get that down first of all. Okay, then we come into the next line. We've got the same groove there. Okay, we just got a change up in bar 7. Okay, where we're hitting backbeat on 4, crash on the upbeat of 4, and then we come into the next bar where again we got that rest on the downbeat of 1, crash and bass drum on upbeat of 1, rest on 2 again, and then the end of that bar, the end of bar 8, we've got 3 and 4 and. So flam, kick, so flam's on the snare drum there. Nice to alternate the flams if you can, but you don't have to. So beats 3 and 4 in bar 8 sound like this. 1, 2. Okay, so those 2 bars now, bars 7 and 8 sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the intro. You see a double bar line there, let you know it's the end of the intro there. So we're going to try to put those 2 lines together now. So we've got the anacrusis or the pickup bar into bar 1, heavily shuffled quavers, and then just make sure you're good with those change ups in bars 3 and 4 and 7 and 8, okay? So in bar 3, that 8th note upbeat crash cymbal, we call like a pushed crash, okay? So because it's normally on the 1, you crash, so that's coming in earlier. Okay, so you've got that push note on the crash cymbal there, coming in earlier than normal, and then you've got the crash on the upbeat of the next beat as well. So those kind of go together. And. Okay, so let's try putting the intro together now. And now we'll try the intro in time with the backing track. Okay, so remember you've got a 2-bar counting. So because you've got the anacrusis part there, you're gonna play that anacrusis in bar 2 of the counting. So you'll hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you've got your and 4. Then we're in with bar 1. So make sure you come in playing that bass drum on the and of 3 of the 2nd bar of the counting. Okay, then we're in with bar 1 with the crash. So keep it nice and relaxed. Okay, we're playing blues rock, so make sure you portray the genre in your playing. It's a blues rock piece. Keep those shuffled 8th note upbeats and make sure you're good with those change ups, like I said before. And those crashes on the upbeats of bars 3 and 4 and also 7 and 8 are hits with the band, okay? So really important to make sure they're nice and tidy with the rest of the band. So let's try the intro now in time with the backing track. So now we come into the next section, which is the verse, which starts at bar 9. So we got the same groove that we played in the intro there. So you've got 2 bars. In the first bar of the groove, you've got the bass drum playing quarter note on 1, 8th notes on 3, and in the second bar, in bar 10, you've got 8th notes on 1 and 8th notes on 3. Okay, so those 2 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then you've got 2 1-bar repeats. So that 1-bar repeat in bar 11 means repeat bar 10. And then the 1-bar repeat in bar 12 means repeat bar 11, which is repeat in bar 10. Okay, so you play bar 10 3 times there for bars 10, 11 and 12. And then in the next line, bar 13, you've got the same groove again. So sometimes when you come into the next line with the same groove, it's just nice to see the groove again rather than the 1-bar repeat. Okay, just because it's a new line. Okay, so we've got 3 1-bar repeats for the rest of that line. So we play that groove another 3 times there. And you can see we've got the number 4 there in brackets above the 4th time of playing that groove in bar 16 there. So that's just because when you have lots of 1-bar repeats, it's easy to lose track of where you are. So when you feel the 4th time of playing the groove, which you will, because naturally we play 4-bar phrases a lot, you'll know where you are in the music. You can see the number 4 there. Next line, starting at bar 17, you've got the same groove, but we're just accentuating the backbeats by adding a crash on the 2 and the 4. Okay, so we're just crashing instead of playing hi-hat on beats 2 and 4 in bar 17. So that sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got a 1-bar repeat, so you repeat that bar again. And obviously, I mean, sometimes we don't repeat crashes when we do 1-bar repeats, but in this case, it's not accentuating the start of a groove. We actually need those crashes to give a sense of the groove. Okay, so we do repeat the crashes for that 1-bar repeat in bar 18. Then we play the same 1-bar again, the 1-bar groove that we've been playing for this section in bar 19. And then we've got a change up in bar 20 where you're playing the crash cymbal and bass drum for the downbeat of 1, rest on 2, and then you've got your flams again on beats 3 and 4 on the snare drum, bass drum playing the and of 3. Okay, so that bar 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remembering that 8th note bass drum on the end of 3 is played with a heavy shuffle, okay? Shuffle feel. All right, so see the double bar line at the end of bar 20? It's because we come to the end of the musical section. We come to the end of the verse. We're going to put the whole verse together now. So keep a nice relaxed feel through this groove. Keep those quarter notes, keep that quarter note subdivision on the hi-hat nice and even. And just make sure you're shuffling those 8th note upbeats, okay? To give that nice feel of the song. Okay, so let's try to put the whole verse together. And now we'll try the verse in time with a backing track.
Will I take whatever I want? And baby, I want you. You give me something I need. And now tell me I got something for you. Oh, come on, come on, come on, do it. Come on, do what you do. I can't get...
And now we come into the chorus, which starts at bar 21. So for the start of the chorus there, we've got the same 2 bars that we played at the start of the verse, and we're just crashing on the 1 of the first bar of the chorus. We've got 2 1-bar repeats for the rest of the first line of the chorus. So we repeat bar 22 another 2 times there for that line. So we got bar 21, 22, we repeat bar 22, and then we repeat bar 22 again. Then we come into the next line of the chorus, starting at the top of page 2 at bar 25. We've got that same groove that you played in bar 22. Okay, and then in the next bar, bar 26, you've got an extra bass drum on the upbeat of 4. You want to make sure, obviously, that's shuffled because it's an 8th note upbeat, a quaver upbeat. So that bar 26 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then in the next bar, bar 27, crash and bass drum for a quarter note on the 1, snare drum played on its own on the 2, crash and bass drum on the and of 2, which is going to be shuffled. Then we've got an 8th note rest on a downbeat of 3, 8th note on the crash and bass drum on the upbeat of 3, which is going to be shuffled. And then that's tied to a quarter note on the downbeat of 4. Okay, so they merge together. So we hit that and of 3, and it lasts for the 8th note on the and of 3, and also the whole beat, that quarter note on the 4. Okay, so we don't play an extra note on the 4, we let the note ring on the end of 3 through the 4 as well. Okay, so that bar 27, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in the next bar 28, we've got a crash for a quarter note on the 1, played with the bass drum again, quarter note snare on 2, quarter note snare on 3, quarter note snare on 4, and the bass drum playing the quarter note on 1, resting for a quarter note on 2, 8th note rest on 3, 8th note on the upbeat of 3, 8th note rest on 4, 8th note on the upbeat of 4. Okay, so before the crash, you've got 2 grace notes on the snare drum. So 2 grace notes and a primary note is a rudiment we call a drag. Okay, so with a drag, the grace notes have got no rhythmic value. Okay, they just need to be played close to the primary note. So a drag could sound like this, but in this case it says lazy drag. So those grace notes can be a bit more separated than normal. Okay, so we can make that drag lazier by just making sure the grace notes aren't as tight as normal. Okay, so a standard drag, they're normally played pretty tight. In this case, just make them a bit lazier. Okay, so we're playing the 2 grace notes on the snare drum and we're playing the primary note on the crash. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Flam on snare, so you've got 1 grace note on the 2, flam on snare on 3, flam on snare on 4. So you can alternate those if you like, or you can play them on the same hand. So that whole bar 28 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those 2 bars together, bars 27 and 28, sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we come into the next line of the chorus, at bar 29. So in bars 29 and 30, you got the same 2 bars that you played at the start of the chorus. And then we got a change up in bar 31. You've got 8th note triplets for the first 3 beats. So 1 ender, 2 ender, 3 ender. And then we got 4, so for an 8th note, and then an 8th note upbeat on the end of 4, which will obviously be shuffled. So for this, you're going round the kit. You start on the hi-hat. For the downbeat of 1, you play the and, 2 on the snare drum. So you got 1 and 2. So that'd be single strokes, right, left, and then you've got 2 8th note triplets on each tom. So you've got right, left on high tom, right, left on mid tom, right, left on low tom. So playing that with the hands, the first 3 beats, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're ending on that 4 there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then we play the 8th note upbeat, that pushed crash again, coming in on the upbeat of 4 with the bass drum as well. So if you got a right crash, you can crash on the right side of your kit, or you can come over and crash on the left side. So we've got bass drums playing downbeats for the 1, 2, 3, and then we've got a bass drum playing the upbeat of 4 with the crash. So that bar sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the bass drum's lining up with a hi-hat on a downbeat of 1, snare drum on a downbeat of 2, mid-tom on a downbeat of 3, and then you've got to make sure you don't play the downbeat of 4. You're waiting for that upbeat of 4 with that push note on the crash cymbal, that pushed crash cymbal note, okay, on the upbeat of 4. So pretty tricky because obviously you're not playing 3 notes on each drum, which is the same notes in the subdivision. So it's not like you're playing 1 ender on snare, 2 ender on high tom, 3 ender on mid tom, which would obviously be easy for that bass drum to line up at the start of each drum. So in this case, you're going to make sure you're keeping those downbeats for the first 3 beats on the bass drum, which aren't lining up with the hands, and making sure you don't play that 4th downbeat. You hold it and hit that upbeat on the 4th beat. Okay, so a bit tricky that bar. So isolate it and really get that down. And then in the next bar, which is bar 32, 8th note rest on the downbeat of 1, crash and bass drum on the upbeat of 1, which will be shuffled, quarter note rest on 2, 8th note rest on 3, 8th note on the upbeat of 3 on the bass drum, which will be shuffled, and then a flam on the snare drum on the 4. So that bar sounds like this, bar 32, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to put bars 31 and 32 together now. Sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the chorus. So we're going to put the whole chorus together now. So make sure when you're playing the quarter note groove, nice and relaxed, solid subdivision, and then you've got the change ups in bar 27 and 28, and also in bars 31 and 32. So just make sure you're comfortable with those. You've got the push crash cymbals in bars 27 and 31, so make sure you're good with those, and also that relaxed drag as well. Okay, so let's put the whole chorus together now. And now we'll try the chorus in time with a backing track. So just like in the intro, those crash cymbals are hits with the rest of the band. So make sure they're really tidy, you're keeping a solid groove, a nice lazy drag in bar 28, okay, so remember not to be too tight with those grace notes. Flams are nice and tidy, okay, keep everything nice and neat, nice relaxed feel to this track, remember. So let's try and portray that in the chorus with the backing track.
Come on, do what you do. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. Listen. Well, it's late and I won't.
Now we come into the next section, which is another verse starting at bar 33. So we've got that same groove that we've been playing throughout this song, that quarter note groove. So no crash to start this verse, just stay on the hi-hat for the downbeat of 1. And then in the next 7 bars, you've got slash notation. Okay, so that gives us freedom to improvise. And above bar 34, which is the second bar of this verse, it says cont sim, continua simile. So although you're improvising, you want to make sure you're continuing with a similar groove. Okay, so we've got a quarter note groove there, backbeat on 2 and 4, so you want to keep that similar feel, but you've got freedom to improvise a bit, okay? So you can see 4 in brackets above bar 4 of the verse, and an 8 in brackets above bar 8 of the verse. So again, just to help you keep track. So when you feel that 4th bar and feel that 8th bar, you know where you are in the music, okay? So it's just to help you there, to make sure you don't get lost. And then the next line, starting at bar 41, you've got that same bar that we played in bar 17 in the previous verse. We were just crashing on the backbeats of 2 and 4. We got that 1 bar repeat again. So again, we play that bar again with the crashes on 2 and 4. Then we play the same groove in the next bar without the crashes, just keeping those 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. So that's bar 43. And then in bar 44, crash and bass drum on the 1, rest on 2, and we've got that flam, kick, flam again. Okay, so we'll try that whole line, bar 41 to 44, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that brings us to the end of that verse, and then we're into the next section, which is another chorus. So now we come into another chorus at bar 45. So we got the quarter note groove coming in again at the start of the chorus, and in the second bar of the chorus, bar 46, we got a slight change up because we're adding a choked open hi-hat on the upbeat of 4, which is played with the bass drum. So by choked, you just want a nice short open hi-hat, okay? So we're just going to open on that upbeat of 4 and quickly close it. So it's sound like this. Okay, so nice and short. You don't want to kind of drag it out. You just want to choke it. Okay, so the first two bars of that chorus, bars 45 and 46, sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in the next bar, rest on the downbeat of 1, play the upbeat of 1 on the bass drum, crash and snare drum on the downbeat of 2, and then we're back to the 3 and 4 for that groove. Okay, so we'll add that bar in as well. So we'll play 45, 46, and 47. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're playing the same bar that we played in bar 46 in the next bar. Okay, with that hi-hat choke on the upbeat of 4 again. Same thing in the next bar that we played in bar 47. Okay, with that crash on the backbeat of 2. And then we're back to the groove without the choked open hi-hat in bar 50. And then we've got a change up in bar 51. Crash for a quarter note on the bass drum on 1, snare on 2, crash a bass drum on upbeat of 2, crash a bass drum on upbeat of 3, and that upbeat of 3 is tied to the 4 again for a quarter note. So remember, don't play the 4, let the note ring on the end of 3 through the 4 as well. So we'll put those two bars together, bars 50 and 51. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the next bar, you got that lazy drag again on the 1. So 2 graze notes on snare, crash cymbal on the downbeat of 1. And you got 8th note triplets for beats 2, 3, and 4 on the floor tom. Okay, so you got a P below the first note on the floor tom there, so we drop to piano, which means soft, and then you got a crescendo through those 3 beats. You want to gradually get louder, and the start of the next line, you're back to forte, which is loud. So you want to go from piano through to loud for this crescendo on the floor tom. Now sticking, I like to play single strokes for the first 2 beats, so right, left, right, left, right, left, and then right, left, left, or start with the left hand on the downbeat of 2. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Just so you come out with the right hand. Okay, so you want to finish with the left hand on the floor tom. So that bar 52, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or with the other sticking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that brings us to the end of that chorus. So we're going to put this whole chorus together now. Okay, so we've got hi-hat chokes on upbeats. We've got crashes as well on upbeats. So tricky chorus to play in terms of the rhythm. So practice this through slowly first of all, and then we'll try it at the song tempo. And now we're going to try the verse and chorus with the backing track. So the second verse, which starts at bar 33, and the second chorus starting at bar 45. Okay, so that verse and chorus there, we're going to put that together with the music. So in the verse, keep a solid groove, freedom to improvise for quite a bit of that verse. Okay, but remember, keep it similar. Then we come back to the groove with the crashes on backbeats at the end of the verse. Finish the verse with the flams. Then we come into the chorus. So just make sure nice and solid in the chorus as well. 8th note upbeats on hi-hat chokes, right in the right place, nice and short with the chokes. So it should give a sense of like an accented note on those upbeat chokes on the hi-hat, okay? And then make sure you've got that nice ending to the chorus with those crashes and then the triplets to finish the chorus, okay? So let's try second verse and chorus in time with the backing track.
Well, it's late and I want love. Love is gonna break me in two. Don't you hang me up in your doorway. Don't you hang me up like you do. Come on, come on, come on, do it. Come on and do what you do. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. I can't
The next section of the song is the guitar solo, which starts at bar 53. So for the first bar of the guitar solo, you got a groove that we played previously in the song, quarter note groove, crashing on the backbeat at 2 and 4. Okay, with the snare drum, bass drums playing eighth notes on the 1 and the 3. Okay, so like I said before, we've come up to forte, so we've got an F beneath the bar, which means loud. Okay, so we want to play this nice and loud. Remember, as it's the guitar solo, we're just supporting that solo, so you just want to keep a nice solid groove. We've got 3 1-bar repeats for the rest of the line, so we play bar 53 another 3 times for the rest of that first line of the guitar solo. Then we've got a page turn. So we turn to the next page, starting at bar 57, we've got another 3 1-bar repeats. We play the groove another 3 times. And then in bar 60, we've got a quarter note on the hi-hat with the bass drum on the 1, eighth note triplets on the floor tom for beats 2, 3, and 4. So you can play the same sticking that you played at the end of the previous chorus, but this time no crescendo. Okay, so you're just staying at forte for that whole triplet fill on the floor tom. And in bar 61, you've got another floor tom note for a quarter note on the downbeat of 1. So the floor toms are like overlapping the bar line, going across the bar line of the end of bar 60 into bar 61. Bass drum on the upbeat of 1, crash and snare on the backbeat of 2, and then we've got the same groove again for beats 3 and 4. So bar 60 and 61 sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and in the next bar, bar 62, same groove that we played at the start of the guitar solo, another 1-bar repeat, so we play bar 62 again, and then in the final bar of the guitar solo, bar 64, crash and bass drum on 1, rest on 2 for a quarter note, play 3 and 4, so you've got flam, kick, flam again, so we've already played in this song. So that brings us to the end of the guitar solo. Okay, so we're going to put that whole section together now. Solid groove, just to hold the guitar solo, just to support the guitar soloist. Okay, so try the whole guitar solo. So now we come into another chorus starting at bar 65. So the first line of the chorus is the same drum parts we played in previous sections. So in the next line of the chorus starting at bar 69, you've got a 2-bar repeat. So that means repeat the previous 2 bars. So we play bars 67 and 68 again there for bars 69 and 70. And then you've got a change up in the next bar, bar 71. Crash and bass drum on 1, snare on 2, crash and bass drum on upbeat of 2 and upbeat of 3, like we played before in this song. And then again we've got that loose, lazy drag on the downbeat of 1, triplets on the floor tom, okay, for beats 2, 3 and 4 with the crescendo again. So just like we played in the previous chorus. Then in the next line, starting at bar 73, we've got another chorus. We've got a slight change up now, so we've got the same groove that we played in the first bar of this chorus in bar 73, but in bar 74 we're changing it up by playing an extra snare drum note on the 3. Okay, so bar 73 sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we got snare drum playing 2, 3 and 4 in that bar. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we've got a 2-bar repeat, so we repeat bars 73 and 74. We've got another 2-bar repeat in bars 77 and 78, so again we play 73 and 74 again. And then in the last 2 bars of that chorus, we've got that same thing that we played in bar 71. So we got 1, 2, and again crash and snare drum. So 1, 2, and lazy drag again on the 1 of bar 80, and then eighth note triplets for beats 2 and 3 as single strokes on the snare drum. So 2 and 3 and a quarter note on the 4. So those 2 bars, 79 and 80 sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that brings us to the end of that chorus. So we're going to put those 2 choruses together now. So the chorus at bar 65, starting at bar 65, and also the chorus starting at bar 73. So we're going to play bars 65 to bar 80.
I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. What I say now? I can't get enough of your love. No, I can't get enough of your love. No, I can't get enough of your love.
So now we come into the final section of the song, which is the outro, which starts at bar 81. So for the first 2 bars of the outro, bars 81 and 82, we've got the same 2 bars that we played previously. And then in bar 83, we've got the triplets around the kit that we played at the end of the first chorus. And then in the final bar of that line, bar 84, 8th note rest on 1, crash on the upbeat of 1 with the bass drum, rest on 2 for a quarter note, play beats 3 and 4 as 8th note triplets on the snare drum as single strokes. So those 2 bars, bars 83 and 84 sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so make sure you got that nice flow going for those 2 bars. Then we come into the final line of the piece, starting at bar 85. You've got a quarter note groove in bar 85 that we played previously. Change up in bar 86, so you've got 8th notes on the bass drum for the quarter note groove for the first 2 beats. You've got 1 and 2, and then you've got a drag on the 3 on the crash cymbal. So again, you can keep it a lazy drag, and then another 8th note on the crash and bass drum for the and of 3 as well. That shuffled 8th note upbeat. So that'd be 3 and for that beat, and then we rest on 4 for an 8th note, play the crash and bass drum on the upbeat of 4, shuffled 8th note upbeat. So the rhythm for that bar is 1 and 2, 3 and. Okay, so it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And that 8th note upbeat on the and of 4 there that we hit on the crash and bass drum is tied to the quarter note on the downbeat of 1 in the next bar, bar 87. So that merges to that, so we just let the note ring there. We don't play the 1 of that bar. We've got 8th note triplets on the snare drum for beats 2 and 3, so you can play those as single strokes: right, left, right, left, right, left. Flam on snare, okay, so either right or left flam, and then crash and bass drum on the upbeat of 4. Now, if you play a right flam on the snare, it is easier to play those floor toms as single strokes. But if you like to flam on the snare with the left hand, it might be a good idea to change the stick into right, left, right, left, right, right, which will just free up that left hand to come up for the flam. Okay, so work out a sticking pattern that makes the flam easier. So either of those depends. Try both basically, single strokes or changing up the sticking pattern on the floor tom. Just see which feels easier for you to come over for the flam on the downbeat of 4, and then be crash and bass on the upbeat. Okay, rest on the 1 of the next bar for an 8th note, and then we crash on the upbeat of 1, so with the bass drum as well, and that's tied to a quarter note, okay, to finish the song. We've got a fermata above that crash on the upbeat of 1, which means pause, so we just hold that note, okay? And you notice how the last bar isn't 4 beats. That's because we had the pickup bar or anacrusis at the start of the piece. Okay, so those two bars together make up the 4 beats. Okay, so the pickup bar and the final bar there are 4 beats in total. Okay, so let's just try the final 3 bars of the piece, so bars 86, 87 and 88, nice and slow so you can hear how that sounds. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the outro. So let's try and put the whole outro together now. And now we'll try the outro in time with the backing track. So work on transitioning from one section of the song to the other. Okay, make sure you can flow from part to part. Okay, and then we're going to put the whole piece together. Okay, make sure we can flow through all the sections of the song. Okay, so the main point of this song, you need to make sure you got that heavily shuffled feel on those 8th note upbeats. Keep nice and relaxed to portray the feeling of the song. And you've got 8th note upbeats on crashes and choked hi-hats, okay, that are quite tricky to hit rhythmically. So just make sure you're spending time making sure you're hitting those at the right points. You've got 8th note triplets as well, so different rhythms to play in this song. But just work on the parts that you're struggling with. Make sure you get them to the point where you're feeling comfortable so they're flowing and sounding nice. Okay, there are some tricky rhythms that you need to isolate to make sure you've got the nice flow to the music. Okay, so let's work on that first, and then we'll try putting the whole piece together. And now we'll try the whole piece in time with a backing track. Okay, so when you're playing the quarter note groove, keep it really solid. Make sure those eighth note upbeats are shuffled, so the shuffled quavers, heavily shuffled as well, to portray the feeling of this song. Okay, and just make sure you're comfortable with the eighth note crashes. You've got push crash cymbals that are coming in early. They're coming in at different points, all right? So make sure you're comfortable hitting the crashes at the right points. They're not plain and simple like on the one. Okay, so a lot of upbeat crashes. So really work on those because most of them are hits with the band. So really important to make sure you're hitting them in the right places. Same with those hi-hat chokes that we had in one of the choruses. So make sure they're really short, okay, the sound, and they're coming in at the right point to complement the song. And you've got that nice flow from part to part, okay, making sure the groove to the change-ups, nice and fluent. There's no kind of stiff, jagged feeling to the pieces. Everything flows nicely in this song. Okay, so really make sure you're portraying that in your playing. Let's put it together to play the whole piece with a backing track.
Whatever I want, and baby, I want you. You give me something I need, and now tell me I got something for you. Oh, come on, come on, come on, do it. Come on, do what you do. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. And I want love. Love is gonna break me in two. Don't you hang me up in your doorway. Don't you hang me up like you do. Come on, come on, come on, do it. Come on and do what you do. I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love. Enough of your love. What I say now?
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that shuffle blues rock piece. Okay, it's a fairly fast tempo. Okay, so make sure you keep relaxed as you play the piece to make sure you've got that stamina for the whole piece. And just make sure you work on all the parts you're not comfortable with. Okay, you don't want to rush through this song just to get to the next grade. You want to work on your drumming. Okay, develop the aspects of drumming that you need to develop to make sure that you're sounding good, you're progressing as a musician, you're sounding good. That's the key point, okay? That's the way to develop as a musician. Work on your weaknesses so they become strengths, and that way you're just going to sound better and better and better, and more musicians are going to want to play with you, okay? So it's not about racing through the grades, it's about developing you as a musician. Okay, so really work on these parts if they aren't feeling comfortable. If you work on them, they will feel comfortable. If they feel comfortable, they're going to sound good. Okay, that's where we need to get to. So really spend the time working on your drumming, And then once you're at that point, have fun playing it with the track. Okay, it should feel fun. It shouldn't feel rushed, stiff and relaxed. Okay, so once you're comfortable playing the parts, you should just be enjoying playing the music and concentrating on how you're playing the notes. Okay, so get to that point, have fun with this song, and we'll see you in the next lesson.